Hi, I'm Ronda Butler with Chenoweth & Cohen Realtors, and I'm back today with my friend Rebecca Olson from Hightower Business Solutions. And we're here to talk about some things that have to do with accounting, taxes, and real estate. So I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
Good. Well, the first thing I wanted to just ask you is, are there anything that we need to know about for filing our 2019 taxes that might be a little different?
Yes, and I think everybody kind of, just to rewind for just a minute, was blown away by what 2018 really looked like, because there was a lot with the TCJA tax changes. And so everybody realized that, our standard deductions just bumped up, our tax brackets have shifted, and oh my goodness, the personal exemptions have all gone away. Well, in 2019, this spring, when you go to file your taxes, what you're going to be noticing is that those tax brackets really have stayed static. That means that they've stayed the same.
Awesome.
So there's more savings, a little bit more that you can earn before bumping into a next tax bracket, which I think is really important for a lot of people. And then also the child tax credit has stayed the same. A couple of things that have changed is that the standard deduction that had practically doubled for everybody. So it used to be like $12,700 in 2017, and then suddenly in 2018 it was like, oh my goodness, where does $24,000 come from? And that if you were a married filing joint, that's actually now increased by $400.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah, so
awesome.
The standard deduction is just wonderful, and that if you're a head of household, so if you're raising kiddos by yourself, single parents, or you've got qualifying dependents, qualifying relatives, that's actually gone up an extra $350. And then if you're single, that's only gone up an extra $200, but it's still tax savings.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so
awesome.
Kind of explaining a little bit of that difference for people when they go in this spring to go file their taxes. The famous question is always, well, should I still claim my medical expenses or my mortgage interest, which was wonderful. And the questions are all, yes, what is the best tax advantage for you? So if it is claiming all of your medical expenses, your mortgage interest on your personal residence or a secondary property, or if you're also able to take real estate taxes, and that's more of a savings if you're married filing joint than the actual $24,400 that you're going to get as a standard deduction, absolutely. So my biggest recommendation for everybody is keep everything that you were used to keeping. All the medical expenses, your mortgage interest statements, that old famous 1098 you get from your lender, and bring all the documents you normally would have brought in your 2017 taxes, and just see with your tax preparer, is this a better advantage for me to take the standard deduction or actually be able to itemize that out?
And that's a good reason to use a professional, because they can look at the options and let you know what's the best for you.
Absolutely.
Correct? Good.
Absolutely.
Awesome. We were talking earlier, and you were talking about if we're selling a home and we are lucky enough to make a lot of money off that sale. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And a lot of homeowners don't realize that, when they're in the market and they're looking to buy a house and they're like, well, we put a lot of improvements into this home over the last, 5-10 years that we've lived there. The value's gone up, areas of Tulsa and surrounding Broken Arrow, property values very much appreciating. And so what if you make a $20,000, $30,000 gain, which would be wonderful.
Right.
So for everyone that has lived in their primary residence is the term from the IRS, but basically that's where you and your family have been living.
Right.
And you go and you sell your house, you've lived there longer than 2 years, which is one of the big questions that, that your professional will ask you. And you're at a gain as a single person, you can have a gain of up to $250,000 and not pay any capital gains.
Wouldn't that be nice?
For a married person, it's $500,000. So it is just, there's a lot of wiggle room there that Congress and our tax laws have been there in place to help, families and single filers be able to sell their primary residence.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the last thing I want to ask you is, we have all of our things gathered. We've got all our documents in the mail, and we're thinking, okay, I'm not going to do TurboTax anymore. There's other options.
Yeah.
What do we look for when looking for a tax professional?
I love that question, and I'm glad you asked that, Rhonda, because one of the biggest questions you want to ask whenever you are interviewing, I always say go interview a couple tax professionals, see who you guys are comfortable with. And one of the biggest questions you'll want to ask them is, are you licensed to represent me during an IRS audit?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because there's tax professionals, and then there's actual people that are licensed to do IRS representation. Those are enrolled agents, CPAs, or lawyers. So, and an enrolled agent is a very special license that gives you IRS tax court representation.
And that gives you peace of mind too, because that's the worst thing, is to get that letter from the IRS and knowing that someone like you can help me with that representation.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, you want the confidence that someone is going to sit down with you, go over your tax return line by line, explain to you where all the numbers on that tax form came from. Some of the new schedules, that if you had multiple income sources, set different types of deductions that affected your adjusted gross income in 2018, you notice that there were new schedules on your tax return. So you want someone that can sit down, walk you through those, explain to you where the numbers came from, how are they affecting your bottom line or your taxable income, and the difference between deductions, tax credits. You want someone that's going to really take you by the hand and kind of guide you through the process, because ultimately you're going to be the one responsible for it. So when shopping for a professional, you want someone that's going to be in your corner and be able to explain those to you.
Awesome. Well, I think you do that. I think you do it well.
Thank you.
And you're in the Rose District of Broken Arrow, been there since
2012.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you.
Well, thanks for joining me today and for answering questions. And we'll have your information on the bottom of the screen, so if someone wants to reach you, they can just look for Hightower Business Solutions in Broken Arrow, correct?
Yes, and for your clients or for people that are seeing this video today, I will do a tax review for you at no charge, just to kind of help people out. Because I know that the last, starting in 2018 and moving into 2018, 2019, we're all seeing tax changes.
Right.
So one of the things I am offering for those that are watching this video, if you do come to my office, I will provide you with a tax analysis at no cost, just to see if you feel like we are going to be a good fit for you. Maybe answer some questions that you've had kind of in the back of your mind, especially if you're a self-preparer tax return, like you maybe used TurboTax in the past. Things are getting a little more complicated, and you've got questions. We will offer that for you. So just mention this video and mention Ronda Butler's name or Supreme Lending, and we will absolutely work with you and do an initial consultation at no cost.
Thanks so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Rhonda.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Okay, well, we'll be back next week with more information.
Thank you.